Hey guys, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here with me and nothing. I want to tell you that this is a really cool project. It is really applied to the industry and the real world. So I really like it, and I hope that you also do too, and that you try to give everything in this project and try to create a really good project so that you can learn. And also, um, if you want to present this to a recruiter or maybe a colleague at work, that it is really a very impressive project. So guys, before I start, I want to tell you a little bit about two important resources that we're going to have. If you have any questions regarding this project, please use the knowledge. In this is a really good tool to search for common questions related to the project, and so please look in there for questions that you have, and also if you have a question, please put it there. It is a really helpful tool. Other than this knowledge page, there is also a FAQ that I created, a frequent asked questions document. Here it is. I'm going to add the link in the description of this video. And well, here I have common questions that you students have. So try to check the questions, or if you have a problem, try to check this FAQ. I'm sure that is going to be helpful, and maybe you're going to find the answer here. So, okay. So guys, I really suggest that you first check. Well, first I want to tell a little bit about the project. The project is called Surety, and it is about how to create a system in Ethereum for paying for so that airlines can pay compensations to their passengers due to delays in the flights. So this is a very good example of how to use blockchain to have a transparent system of how to pay the passengers. Normally, one of the main problems is that passengers often well have the problem that the airlines don't want to pay the amount that they said they want, and it's a really hard process. And also, the airlines sometimes they don't pay in cash, but they pay, I don't know, in miles, or I don't know, in food or something, but that is not very helpful for the passengers. So if you pay with Ether, you have a new currency that is accepted all over the world. So Ether is better than miles, you know. And the other thing is that it's a very good, you create a system that you can trust. And so the airlines that have these kind of systems are better. So the first thing that I suggest is please check the project requirements and the project walkthrough videos. Look that here are all the requirements that you have, so watch the videos. And well, that's one thing that I suggest that you do. Now let's try. I'm going to give you a little bit of some working plan advice, and also to talk about the rubric. So first, I want to go through some things. I suggest that you start working on the side of the airline. So working, I don't know. I suggest that you work first in registering the airlines. So try to work in this first specification. Also in this one, that only an airline may register a new airline until there are 4 airlines registered. Then try to work also in this part of the registration. And also in the funding part. So try to start working in this part of the airlines. When you have those part of the airlines done, I suggest that what you do is that you create tests for them. So for every single of these specifications related to airlines, you need to create a test that to prove that each of these specifications work. Okay, that is important. Okay, so next, guys, I suggest that you work on the passengers part. So try to work on all of these specifications from the passenger. Again, all of these, well, except obviously this first one that includes the DL. For all of these other 4, please create a test in Truffle to prove that they work. Okay, that is important, really important. Please don't forget. After that, well, you can start working. I suggest that you start working on the oracles. So okay, work on the oracle again. For these ones, you need to implement tests to prove that these ones work, and also, well, they should work when you run the server. Okay, so both things, you know, all the specifications here have to work in tests that you need to implement for each specification, and also in the app and when we run the server. Well, guys, well, I'm going to start talking now related to each specification. So this one, smart contract code is divided into multiple contracts. Okay, so the flight surety solve for persistence and flight surety app for app logic and oracles. Okay, so guys, you need to think this really well. This contract acts just like a database. So everything that you're doing there is just the functionality of a database. Okay, so I'm going to show you here a little question about this, where I explain that in detail. Where is it? Okay. One sec. Second. Okay, I don't know. I couldn't find it here. I was sure that it was here. The fonts. Okay. 1 second, please. Well, guys, yeah. Well, all that I wanted to say is that, okay, on the flight surety data, it acts just like a database. So you normally when you do an application, the database don't I don't know, don't sum things or don't check rules. Like, I don't know, you don't create if statements inside a database or a for loop or something like that. Well, you can actually no, a for loop in this case for the flight surety you may need it if you need to look for some data, but not for doing any calculation. So you in a database don't do calculations or implement logic or anything. So all the logic, business rules, and parameters can change in the future, probably. So all of those rules need to go is in the app component, in the flight surety app. So you need to do that very well. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see. For example, let's say this one that you need to font 10 ether. Okay, this 10 ether is a parameter that you should not be checked on the data contract, but on the app contract, because this requirement may change. What other? This one, the passengers may pay up to 1 ether. 1 ether, that is a parameter. This should be enforced. This logic enforced on the app. Also, this one that the passenger receive 1.5 times the amount paid. Also, this is a parameter, and all of these should be implemented in the app. And yeah, practically every parameter needs to implement it there. Okay, so just use the data contract as mentioned in here for just, I don't know, adding when you need to add something. So just add, or to modify something, but you just modify it. You don't all the heavy work, you do it on the app. But when you are going to submit the changes, you pass them to the data, and the data contract submit the changes. Okay, so it's basically that. Let's try to see some other things that I want to talk about. Okay. Now for the DApp, sorry. You don't need to modify anything else. You just I recommend that you just work on top of the slide surety. I'm going to show you code GitHub. So for working on the front end, I suggest that you just use the DApp, and the only contracts that you are going to need to modify are index.js, index.html, well, the CSS if you want to make it pretty. I really hope you try to modify the CSS and try to make a really beautiful app. It's really important. And the contract.js, so that are practically all the files that you need to work on. Now on the server, for the oracles, you just need to work here on the server.js. Here you implement all the functionality of the oracles, and you need to modify this code and add code in here. What else? Okay, look in here on this first part of on this requirement. Only existing airline may register a new airline until there are at least 4 airlines registered. Well, yeah, it's basically the only thing. How should that work? So basically, only, well, until there are 4. When there are 4, there will change. But if there are less than 4, an airline that exists can register another airline. Basically, it is required that it is that the airline that is registering is registered, and has funds, so it needs to have funds also. On the other hand, when there are more than when there are the fifth or five, or when you want to reach the number, the fifth airline and the others, you need to do multi-party consensus. That means a voting. So it's just that the airlines that at that moment are registered can vote and should vote for registering a new airline, and there need to be 50%, at least 50% of the votes needs to be positive in order for a new airline to be registered. And if there are no 50% of positive votes, then that new airline is rejected. Also, take into account that I suggest that the airlines that vote need to have be funded, and I talk a little bit more about that in here, okay, in the FAQ. So yeah, basically the total number of airlines registered also considers the airlines that are not funded. So at the time, so if there are 4 airlines at that moment when you want to register the number 5, you only take into account those four that are already registered, successfully registered, okay? And that's basically it. Okay, this functionality also I suggest that you implement it in the UI, although it is not required. I really suggest that you implement it to prove that it works okay, and yeah, that everything works okay. So okay, guys. Well, apart from that I already told you, I want to mention some other important questions in the FAQ. Okay, about testing, I recommend that you, when you test, you try to test each file separately, like in here in question 6, because you might have problems with the nonce. So try to, you might have a problem if you run all the tests in just one command. Try to run it separately, each in a separate command, okay? And the version of that I recommend is this one of your software, although you can use others and it may work, but I recommend that one. What else? Okay, this one, an airline, should be to be able to register another airline or to vote. The airline needs to have paid the ether. So yeah, basically that. And I want to show you some good examples of some really nice UIs that you can use for your app. So the first thing, this is one that I did. So you need to create a part in the UI when you can create an airline. I also created put some airlines that are, let's say, the app when it starts, it gets these some airlines that, well, you can choose there from the list and register. Well, then, the airline, I created here a component so that the airline can send the funds. So, well, here I select the airline, and, well, I send the funds. Then, well, this is the component to buy a flight insurance. So you should try to implement that there. Then is another component for the operational status. So when you click that, you check to see if the flight is already registered. Delayed. You actually, what I implemented here is that, well, every time I click this button, the Oracle is always going to return an answer that the flight is delayed. And that's just for simplicity for this application and for not making it very, very complex. Because if if it didn't happen that way, then you would need to use like a real list of flights, and also only if the flight's really delayed, that should happen. So a good simplification is to assume that our airlines are going to be delayed when you submit the flight status. So the Oracle always submits that it is delayed. Then one sec. The passenger can claim their insurance. So try to create a component for now that you check the status and it's delayed, the passenger can claim the insurance, see what are the credits of his accounts, and to withdraw the credits. I want to show you another example that you also can use. This is from another student. These are really great. So in this one, you authorize people that can use this contract first, and then you register the airlines. So in here, for the student allowed you to register the airlines, so that is okay. That is an acceptable thing. You register the airlines and use it. This approach is also valid. Because here I don't have like a a list of airlines to register from, but this is also okay. Here you have to register a flight. You create a flight. After that, you purchase the insurance for that flight, and then you claim the well, you submit to the oracles to update the thing, to check the status, and so that the oracle submits that it is delayed, and then you can claim the insurance. So this is also a good example. Okay, guys, I hope that this was helpful. Please leave any questions in the commentaries of this video if you need help, or well, ask me questions directly on the mentorship channels. Okay, thanks, guys.